Hey everyone, did you have a great Thanksgiving? I know I did. I kind of did. We were invited over to my nephew's house, and my mom got like little flu symptoms, and I was passing kidney stones again. I'm pretty sure I'm over the kidney stones though, and I did a little different here. I thought I would like change up everything. I wanted to try out my laptop in a different little setup and see if I could go wireless with a laptop. Hi Jesse, hi Connie. Yeah, in fact, we're gonna celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow with my son. He had to work. He works at a casino, and usually the holidays are something he has to do. It's just the nature of the casino beast. But he gets tomorrow off, so we're gonna spend the day with the grandkids and my son, and hopefully have a really good time. I mean, my wife was in here making fruit salad, and a few pies. I wish that you could smell the place, like smell a YouTube or whatever, because it smells really good in here. Yes, it does. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Jan and Jesse. Yeah, my backdrop is my fish tank. I did a little bit of work to the fish tank, Black Friday deals, and I bought this what do you call it, a canister filter. So no more over the hang off the back filter system. Now we have one that goes underneath inside the cabinet right here, and it seems to, even though I know you can't see it that well, it seems to be like cleaning it a lot better, and hopefully it means that I don't have to spend as much time at the tank changing the water, cleaning the filters, testing the chemicals, and make sure the fish are all happy, even though I pretty much had it dialed in pretty good. Saying it says it's a 55 gallon. That looks all good. I don't know what my problem is. It says my stream health isn't that great. Let's see. It says the viewers may be suffering. It's probably my router. I've been having all kinds of trouble with my router. And then I'm wireless right here and trying to run HD and wireless. I think I'll love the canister filter. I mean, except for making a big giant mess hooking it up, I didn't realize, it's a big old fat one. I got a deal on it. I got it for like $35. And it was brand new, but only it was like damaged goods. The base on it was like broken half. So duct tape fixes anything. I was gonna send it back because they didn't say it was broken. I wondered why it was so cheap, but I mean, everything else works. It doesn't leak or anything. So I just pushed the two pieces together onto the base, and then duct tape. And I duct taped it real good, and it's all balanced and everything, and I have it running right now. It's got like a little spray bar in the back. You might even be able to see it in the video there. Yeah, these I looked at all the different kinds of canister filters, and they're expensive. This one was a Penplax Cascade 1000, and usually they're around $100, $85. Only I got this one for like $35, and I think it was because the base was broken and it wasn't used. It had all the stuff in it, all the mechanical and biological and all that stuff, all the filter stuff. So Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's only been running for like, oh, maybe like a couple days, you know. But yeah, I've been so busy, I haven't even been able to get on, uh, do any kind of update or anything lately. And it looks like I might have to like slow down or something because I don't want to like be all jerky and everything. But only this is like a little test. Like if I go out where there's a wireless connection, I want to see if my little setup that I have right here will handle like going live at events and stuff like that, and without having to plug in except for the power, for the laptop. But everything else is ran off of the laptop, the camera and everything. So I was you did. That's nice. You nuked the bathroom. Is that what you're saying? Well, thank you. I feel a lot better. The kidney stones were really tough, man. High Fire Dude and Eddie, and they took our jobs. They took our jobs. I think I might know who that is. Uh, so yeah, so we I put on my Facebook, I have a new wave oven that I've had for a long time, and I pull it out for like special occasions. And instead of having a turkey, we had a whole chicken. And there's only a couple of us here. My mom didn't feel well, so it was just me and my wife, and we had new wave chicken, and man, that thing cooked so good. That's something that if you're an RVer or a camper with an RV or a trailer, that's something to have in there, man. I mean, you can cook frozen chicken in an hour or two, frozen roasts. I mean, you can make pies and cookies and pizza and everything in it. It's really a cool thing. Hi, Arlo. And then I wanted to say, like, let's see, do you have any good ghost stories? Hi, Eric. A good ghost story. I might. I want to talk about Bigfoot for sure. I don't know like how many of you guys follow Jeffrey Gonzalez, but for those of you that don't, we've been tracking this family or a clan of Bigfoot in the Central Valley, along the eastern side of the valley, in the foothills and in the river bottoms of the Central Valley, in the oranges or citrus, really. It could be tangerines, lemons, oranges. There's another name too. I can't remember what it is. But at first I was thinking that they were there for the food, oranges and stuff like that. I thought that's what they were there for. But only they weren't there for that. I don't think, I mean, they eat the oranges and stuff, but I think they're there for the hiding. I mean, the more that we go out in these areas, the more I realize how dense the oranges are, and actually all the citrus, and they're green year round. They're big trees around here, and they can disappear in one row. All they have to do is step in one row and they're gone, right? They could even step into it inside of a tree and get inside of there, and nobody's going to follow them in there because oranges and stuff like that, they have these big spikes, on the branches and stuff. So but they climb in there and they're gone, right? They disappear. And I think they use that like to get around at night or in the day to hide out. That's what I think they're doing. But they also they have a lake that's near there called Avocado Lake. You guys can Google that and go on Google Maps and Google Avocado Lake, and you can look at it and you can see the Kings River and where it comes from. And there's a dam, a big giant dam. In fact, Avocado Lake was built or made. That's where the quarry was, where they got where they made the concrete to build the dam. And there wasn't a lake there; it was just a river bottom. But only they dredged out so much sand and rock and stuff like that, making the concrete to build the dam, that they made a lake. And the river runs right next to it. And from what I understand, there's like underground tunnels that go from the river into the actual quarry that's now filled up with water that they call Avocado Lake. Well, we started talking about this area probably for the last 5 years, and this group of Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot are active over there all year around. And a lot of people, as it got more known, and then Jeffrey brought a lot of attention to it, got himself on TV, and then that went viral, went all over the world, really. It was on all the major news things, and even some of the ones that you don't want to be in, like what is that one? Oh, sounds like somebody's burning rubber. Don't know if you could hear that, but he got all this attention, and then all of a sudden the county decided they're going to close the lake, and they closed it. And they said it was going to open this month on the 17th. Well, it didn't open. And this holiday, a lot of people, it's been beautiful, 70 degrees out here, 70, 71, 72 every day. Beautiful, beautiful. It is fall and the trees are turning and dropping their leaves, but it's beautiful. So a lot of people want to go out to their favorite lake. It's a beautiful little lake with all kinds of picnic grounds and stuff, like, tables and grass and all this. And they wanted to go out there, so people were parking on the outside and walking in. And today the police were out there in full force, and they were making people leave. And I don't know how long that they're going to keep that closed, and I don't know if it's because the Sasquatch are dangerous over there, and that's why they're running everybody out. That part is like a mystery still that I haven't figured out. California is I'm speaking about California. So it says, do you think they come down from the forest and then go back up there? Actually, I think they live here, down here, along in the river bottom. Because over the last couple of years, we found them where the river runs next to cities like Reedley, Dinuba, stuff like that, and they use the orange trees like a green belt area, so they can branch out and move around, and then they can find more food: coyote, rabbits, small game, dogs, cats, maybe baby cows, sheep, goats, stuff like that, chickens. A lot of produce out there, a lot of little game. There's no mines. What I'm talking about is there's tunnels like underneath in the lake that you can go from the river to the lake. In fact, it has a record, or like is infamous lake for drownings. They have signs all over the place about people drowning, and I think a lot of them, they either disappear because of the Bigfoot, and that's why they keep it they're closing it now because we brought so much attention to it, or they're getting caught in undertow and getting drug into those little, throughways from the river to the lake and getting under there and getting stuck under there. A lot of people never been found, and they never empty that lake. So I don't know. I know they plant the lake with fish, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly why they're keeping everybody out. But it is an interesting thing, to follow. Let's see. Yeah, Jeff does have theories. He does. Yeah, we talk about them all the time. Let's see. They would have plenty to eat. Do you hear how some lady and her kid were killed when they hit a bear? No, I didn't hear about that. But I have been noticing a lot of Bigfoot sightings are on the rise, like all over the place, everywhere. I mean, people are like less afraid about being, it's starting to become cool, to have a Bigfoot sighting. So people are like sharing their pictures and stuff like that now, footprints. They're coming out with their stories. Just all of a sudden, a flood of stuff, and even like commercials, like that one commercial about texting and driving, and the guy's driving his Jeep, through the woods, and he hears his cell phone, and he looks down for a second, and while he's looking down, a Bigfoot crosses the road in front of him. And then he looks back up, and he doesn't even know, and it says, it only takes a second, when you're texting to miss something, maybe even a Bigfoot, and I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, you think it was a Bigfoot that killed the lady and her kid? It could have been. I know that they're not releasing, like when things happen with the Bigfoot, they'll say an animal kill, but they won't really go in details. But if it's a real animal kill, they'll tell you all about it. They'll tell you it was a cat and this and that, and they'll hunt it down. They'll even hunt down the Bigfoots, really, from what I understand. But yeah. They weren't Bigfoot parts that people found. It was actually a barefoot. That sounds funny, huh? A barefoot. It was the foot or a paw of a bear, and that's what it was. It wasn't a hominid foot. It was a foot from a bear that somebody threw out. Yeah, I like Sasquatch Chronicles too. The only thing I have with Sasquatch Chronicles is I research a lot, and I've been researching a lot, and how do they come up with so many stories, like week after week, a new one and a new one and a new one? Like that, to me, that is, I don't know how they can do that. Like I want to believe, that I want to believe that they're getting new people every week, but I have a feeling that there isn't that many to find or to hear. So some of them even seem like they're reading a script, even though it's still cool to listen to. I don't think all of them are real, all the stories are real, but then I could be wrong too. I really could, and I listen too, so hey, I like it. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Like, if the guy is offering money for stories, like even 100 or 50 or 75, people will make up a story, I mean, there's like a whole bunch of videos that you can go on YouTube and, Sasquatch, rape the guy, and I mean, there's all kinds of them. I mean, it's ridiculous, what people will do. And then I wanted to thank everyone. Like, I know you guys saw the flute and the walking stick, but then I just got some more stuff from Purple Rose. Thank you so much, Purple Rose. I'm going to take pictures of stuff and put it this weekend, and this week might not be the best week for me. I'm gonna go out on Tuesday with a friend. He's probably on here, Fire Dude. But we're gonna go out and do a little poking around in Squatch Zone somewhere, and I'll be bringing that back, you know. Hey, Willie Booger and Elizabeth M and Killed by Bigfoot, how you guys? But I'm gonna hook up the website and put the pictures on it, and then I think I'm gonna do like a time limit, like say a week or 7 days or 10 days, something like that, and people can bid on them, and then I'll have it set on a timer to close at a certain time, so whoever has the highest bid when it closes wins the item. And I got a whole bunch of cool stuff. Howdy L, how you doing? But yeah, you heard it? You heard a Bigfoot in the background? Huh. It's saying my battery's not on. Uh-oh. That could be causing problems. I know what to do though. You guys are gonna love me for this. Let's leave that open. Okay. I'm sitting on a bucket too. Sitting on my fish tank bucket. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm charging again. My laptop was about to go off. That would have been good, huh? Just sitting here talking, all of a sudden, lights out. Yeah, I feel a lot better. I'm scratching right here. The doctor gave me a couple of new meds when I first started passing the stones. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a big old fat pill, and I take it twice a day, and it changes the chemical in the kidney so that it will not make stones, right? They did a bunch of tests on me to figure out exactly what was wrong and why the kidney was making the stones. Because most people, they say, stop drinking coffee, stop drinking soda, drink a lot of water. Well, like I'm drowning, I drink so much water. I have a cup of coffee, 1 or 2 cups a day. I don't drink Pepsi, I don't drink tea, just water, and there's no reason for me to be making stones. So what happened is this disease that I got when they accidentally blocked the femoral artery. It killed a whole bunch of nerves in my leg, lack of blood oxygen for 8 days, but then this disease called RSD, it spreads. So it spread up into my back, and now it's up in my kidneys, and it's causing the kidneys to not be chemical balanced, right? So they make stones. So hopefully this pill will put it back in balance, and I won't make stones anymore. And then he gave me a patch. It's like an extra pain thing that's like long acting, but it's the lowest dose that you can get, because I don't want to be all nummy and drummy. I was that way for when I first got hurt, for probably about 3 years. I was nummy and drummy, and I thought I was okay. You know, I thought that I knew what I was talking about and thinking and stuff like that, but at one point my insurance got kicked off, and I wound up I wound up having to no pain meds at all. So I went from taking, I think they were called MS Contin, something like that, 80 milligrams like 3 times a day, plus some other breakthrough pain meds. But then my insurance, I lost my insurance while I was fighting for Social Security and went cold turkey, and that almost killed me right there. That's no joke. It took about 2 months, but then, you know, I was sitting around and I was talking with my wife, and all of a sudden she's like, "Welcome back," you know. I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Welcome back." And I didn't know what she was talking about. She said, "You know, you've been like stupid for 3 years, and it's nice to have you back, all talking and thinking and, you know, with us." So that was an interesting thing. But he gave me this patch, and it's just enough where I don't take those long-acting pain meds. I'm trying to do it as on the least amount that I can. So the patch evens out, like the when you take pain pills, you know, you can feel it. It starts working, it starts working, it starts working, it's working, it's starting to stop working, stop working, stop working, you know, you need to take some more. And then it starts working, it starts working, and it goes up and down and up and down. Well, the patch evens that out. It makes the not working part where, because it'll go like from really intense pain to maybe 50% of the pain, and then it'll go on down, and you can't take them like every, you know, when you hurt you have to, or otherwise you take too many, so you have to wait so many hours. Well, if you wait to so many hours, by the time you get to that 5 or 6 hour mark, you're in a lot of pain again. So this patch is kind of helping me, you know, through that. Yeah, the pain pills are hard on the kidneys, but they did the testing and it's not, I'm fine. I'm healthy as can be, really. It's the nerves, the nerve function. Just like in my leg, you can stab me and I can't feel it, right? The nerve function in the leg is messed up. So the nerves run everything in your body. Wherever the nerves die, then that's where you have problems. You know what I mean? And so I'm like stuck in a pickle, you know, like I could not take the meds, but then you wouldn't see me. I'll be in bed and I'll be hiding and you won't see me because the pain is so great. And hopefully I don't commit suicide like 5 of my friends already did that I met that have the same disease. They call this the suicide disease for a reason. There's a lot of people that kill themselves over this and pain. And I actually foresee, I'm going to make a prediction, as they do a war on opioids or however you want to say, opiates, as they kick on this war against opiates, watch more people committing suicide with RSD. Watch. It'll start coming in the news because people can't, they're picking on us. I mean, here we are needing it to be able to have a life and work on my fish tank and talk to you guys and go out and pitter-putter around in the Squatch zone. If I don't have them, I don't go, I don't get out, I don't do anything. And there's a lot of people like me, but watch them start committing suicide. That's just a prediction, and you watch for that. I've tried about everything. CBD oil works pretty good. I've rubbed lidocaine all over me. Then I've concoctions. One of them worked, and it had lidocaine and gabapentin and Benadryl and all these drugs in it, but it was a cream, and I could rub it on. If I rubbed it right inside the scar, and rubbed it in really good, it would go down to the femoral nerve, and then it would like lessen the pain in my leg. But that's the only place that it worked. It didn't work on my ankle or anything like that. So, but only now that they did the second surgery, the scar tissue is built up pretty thick now, and I can't stick my fingers down into the scar and get down in there next to that nerve and get it on there. So now it doesn't work for me anymore. Hi, Winter. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. I'll be picking you up, I think. You know, I'm not even keeping up with that Vegas thing, even though I have John Lear as a friend, and he's been writing some stuff about it, but mostly he's writing about the moon right now and some of the old school NASA stuff. So I haven't really kept up on that. Yeah, you know, the opiates are real addictive, but if you can't live without them, then why worry about an addiction? You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that I don't understand. Like, when I go to the ER, for instance, and they look at my med list, they're like, "Oh, you're an addict. You're just in here seeking pain pills." Like, really? I have my own. I don't need yours. I'm here because I need to be seen. There's something wrong with me, you know. But yeah, it's sad. So watch. There's going to be a lot of people committing suicide if they continue on this track, because a lot of people can't live without them. And a lot of people think they can't live without them, and that's the ones they should be after, right? The ones that have nothing wrong with them, no medical history, and they say they can't live without them. Well, you know, those are the ones. They're making it bad for everyone. And I wonder why it is that we swing politically, or whatever it is, we swing like from one extreme to the other extreme. There's never any like happy medium anywhere. We're always, like right now, all the snowflakes are freaking out and all the Trump people are freaking out. I mean, like there's no happy middle ever, you know. There's a war on drugs, everybody's included, you know. I don't get it. I wish I was in charge of that. I wish there was. I mean, that's kind of why I want to do the Squatch zone. I want to, like, yeah, they call it drug seeking, and it's a bunch of bull. And a lot of the people are in their 70s and stuff like that, and they can't live without it. Like my mom, she's bionic. She has two hip replacements, and she gets around really good as long as she has pain meds. As soon as she doesn't get around. You know, she's down, stuck, just like me. If I don't have any, you don't see me. I'm then watching TV if I can even concentrate on it, you know. It's really sad. Yeah, the worst one that got me the worst was, I got to know these people, because this happened to me in 2000, April 1st. Like, isn't that like a really bad joke? April 1st is when they found that they blocked the femoral artery. And they actually did it like 7 days prior to that, but April 1st is the day that they found out it was blocked, and then the surgery, and then I died a couple times, all this stuff. Only before there was Facebook, before there was MySpace, there was forums. Man, you could go, like, there was car forums, there was Bigfoot forums, fishing forums, there was health forums. So people with different diseases, you know, ALS, Parkinson's, stuff like that, you could go into a forum and you could hang out with people that had the same thing as you. And that's where I met a lot of these people. They all have the same thing as me. They got it different ways, but most of them was from a bad surgery or a wound, like getting shot in the war. And you know, it severed an artery, and then they had issues, you know. Some of them, they don't know how they got it, you know, or they hurt their back or something. And I think that's where the antibodies, the white antibodies, white blood cells, they go in and they attack, like in the wound. And then when they die in there attacking, right? And then they clog up the little teeny capillaries. And then it starts like a little nerve damage. And then from there, it spreads, right? The nerve damage spreads. And mostly it's doing it inside here. It mixes the signal in your brain, and then you're jacked, right? Well, I met, like, one of them was only 21. This young lady had her whole life ahead of her, and then the doctors didn't believe her. You know, they did the same thing to me for like 3 years. They don't believe you. They tell you it's all in your head. It is kind of, but you know, they're saying it's like you're making it up. You're just drug seeking, all this kind of stuff. And when you're in really intense pain and you don't see a way out, sometimes the only thing people think about is taking themselves out. So she's 21, and then, you know, and I was just talking to her one day, then the next day, you know, I get an email saying she's gone. And that was like, oh my gosh, not a young lady, not any young person, like, man, you know. Yeah, it's swinging back to zero pain meds. You're right. And I know this has nothing to do with a Squatch zone, but it does to me. You know, like, I'm not even a Squatch zone without them. So, you know, that's a big issue for me, and it's a big issue for everyone. Okay, 11, that sounds good. Don't wake me up. I'm just kidding. Don't wake grandma up. Or mom. Don't wake her up. Man, I'm so sorry to hear that, Jesse. 25, huh? And what, did you get like a crush injury or a work injury or something like that, and then wind up all jacked up? A lot of people I know got theirs from work injuries, and then the sad part is you get a work injury, and then you have to deal with workman's comp. Like, they don't want to treat you, they want you to go away, they make life miserable for you, you know. They say it's all in your head, you know. And then if you wind up being permanently disabled over it, then you have to deal with the Social Security, and then there's a whole nother realm of bullshit. Yes, is all I can say, you know. And it's ridiculous, you know, especially if you're 25, because they're gonna think they could retrain you, or, you know, all this stuff, and because you're too young, you know what I mean. So you're gonna have to be almost dead to get Social Security, and the only reason is because it's the same reason of the people that abuse. They abuse alcohol, they abuse drugs, they abuse the Social Security system, they abuse the welfare system. I mean, there's all these abusers, lazy ass people that don't want to work, and then they make it hard for everyone. When you finally get in, you know, if you ever get in a place where you have to rely on this to live, it sucks for us, because now we have to go deal with all this crap, and you're already stereotyped. As soon as you walk through the door, I mean, they judge you as, like, you're 25, they judge you as a drug-seeking person that just wants to live off the doles. And I mean, they don't even, I mean, like, the first time I went to court for Social Security, the judge was looking at my medical records, and he looked at me, and he looked at my medical records, he looked at me, and then he closed the medical records, and he threw all my medical records out as evidence. And I was like, okay. And then he's like looking at me, and now look at me, I look good, okay? Like, I look good. But I'm not hurt on the outside, I'm hurt on the inside, right? So he goes, you look more healthier than me. Case closed, dismissed, bam, no. You know, like, what? Like, I have 5 doctors, specialists saying I can't do anything. You know, like, I'm messed up, jacked up, even in a wheelchair, even at the time. And do you think that mattered? Nope. You know, didn't matter. I feel so sorry for anyone that has to deal with this. You know, 22%. That's a lot. You know, crushed hand. See, I nailed it, huh? Like, it was a work injury. I'm so sorry, man. And hopefully you don't get RSD in that hand, because of those white blood cells. They get in there and they fight the bacteria and try to heal you. Only when they die, your body usually can flush them out, but sometimes they clog up the arteries, the capillaries and stuff like that, the little ones. And then it starts this, it doesn't kill your limb or your fingers or your hand or anything, but it kills the nerves inside, the little tiny nerves that you, like when you touch something you can feel it and stuff. I mean, it starts killing off that stuff, and it spreads, and then it somehow goes into your brain, and then your brain confuses it, and then all of a sudden it feels like your hand is in a barbecue grill, always burning off, you know, just flat. Somebody opened up your neck, poured gasoline, set it on fire, put your head back on, you know. Just like, I just hope that doesn't happen to you, man. And I know the pain of it is already bad. I feel really bad for you. Yeah, Canada, I know some people in Canada, they're all heroin addicts. They were here, and they were drug addicts, and they tried to get on, they were saying their drug problem made them disabled, okay? It was a disease, and they tried to get Social Security, and then they found out they were Canadians, and they shipped them over back to Canada, and so they're over there now, but, you know, it's same thing over there, same thing. Yeah, you know what the pills do to me is they mess my stomach up. Like, I take like 20 something pills a day, and now they have 4 heart stents. So now I got blood thinners and all these other, you know, I have to take an aspirin. Yeah, man, it messed my stomach up. Yeah. Yeah, the kidneys, man. That's no joke right there. But you know what's kind of trippy about me and kidney problems? The kidneys don't hurt as bad as my leg hurts. So I'm good most of the time. It's just like when they get stuck, like the stone will get stuck, or it'll hit a narrow area, you know, and then it has to like drag through, and oh man, see, then I have the leg pain and the kidney pain, and then your kidney gets backed up a little bit, you know, and it's swollen and stuff, and oh man. But it still doesn't hurt as bad as my leg hurts, really. Only every once in a while it'll be so intense that it's worse than my leg. It's like being stabbed. But once, and it doesn't last, you know, for a long time like the leg does. So I can hang pretty good. I just can't concentrate when there's 2 pains going on at one time and both of them are pretty bad. Yeah, the two together, I just pace back and forth and back and forth. I can't even lay down, I can't sit down, I can't do anything except for like pace until the pain dies down a little bit in the kidneys. Yeah, I think Bigfoot eats marijuana. I have a Bigfoot story. You guys want a Bigfoot story? Like a little bedtime story? There's these growers, these marijuana growers, and actually not far from Avocado Lake. Okay, not far. And it might even be the same ones, but these growers, they for 3 years they had this nice area, and they were growing a lot of marijuana, and I think it was a drug cartel that was up there, and we stumbled onto it one time, and they had lines going from this spring way up the hill, and then they had the grow farm or garden, whatever you want to call it, down the hill a ways, and they used gravity with drip lines all the way down, and it was what kept their plants watered, and they looked really good, for marijuana plants. Beautiful 12 feet tall stuff, but only these guys were well armed, like I got to know them because they shopped in the same little store up there in the mountains. Like, they'll stay for like 2 or 3 months in there, but they'll come out every once in a while for beer and this and that, and that's when you would meet them. And there's this other guy that got to know him better than me, and they would talk to him, and they told him that they would also poach deer. So they had poached a couple of deer, and they had the deer hanging in the tree and skinned and everything, ready to cut it up into quarters and butcher it up. And here they are standing there with automatic rifles and everything, right, in their camp, and with, standing right next to this deer, and then they start hearing King Kong coming, knocking trees down and screaming and roaring and everything, and coming straight at them, and when they seen it, they froze. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Here comes this huge black furry man thing, moving at supernatural speeds, real graceful, real loud, and I guess it was like giving them the infrasound thing and kind of like had them frozen. It ran right by them. I mean, they're not afraid of guns, you guys. These things are not afraid of guns. I'm gonna tell you. Don't let anybody tell you that. They aren't afraid of cameras either. They're more like don't like lights. They don't like really bright lights, is what they don't like. But here they come. Here it comes running through in the middle of the day and grabs the deer and keeps on running, snaps the rope, and runs off with it. And now once it grabs the deer and takes off running, they start shooting at it, right? Boom, 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 boom. And I don't know if they hit it or not. But the next morning when they woke up, all their plants were broke. Every single one of them had been snapped over. And they had a few more run-ins with it, and then they packed it up, and they said they aren't ever going back in there again because these things are scary. They do supernatural things. They're stronger than human, bigger than human, faster than human, and it seemed like the bullets didn't do anything to them. So they don't go there anymore up there. So it's safe to go around there. But yeah, that's Bigfoot, and they don't like growers. So nothing takes your... You offered them weed, they don't take the weed? Huh. Interesting. I know they like apples. That's what we use, and works. The apples almost always they take the apples, but then they manipulate the cameras. So we have like a camera trap. So there's cameras where each camera can see all the other cameras, so that they can't go in there without getting. If they manipulate one camera, then the other one gets their picture, right? Well, they can stop all the cameras and sit there and eat the apples and peel the stickers off and leave a pile of stickers, the little stickers with the barcode on it. They'll leave a pile of those, but all the cameras will shoot blank pictures. But once they're gone, the camera starts working again, and then we have skunks and deer and squirrels and birds and stuff like that. But before... And so it'll work all the way up until, and the apples are there, and then all of a sudden it starts taking these dark pictures, blanks, and it'll take several of them in a row, and then the next thing you know, we're seeing deer and other animals, but only the apples are gone. And then when we personally go over there, and look, there's just stickers sitting there. So whatever it was could manipulate the camera. It could sit there and eat the apples and peel the stickers and leave them right there and not get their picture taken from 4 cameras. Pretty interesting. They are tricky. There's something up with that, I think. I would say Dr. J is onto something when, on that. I used to think they were biological, they bleed like you and me, and I think they do in this realm, but I think they also go in the other realm, and they also have powers we don't have, And why they don't use fire, maybe they do, I don't know, but why they live so primitive, but then they have these really cool, like, superpowers, almost like Superman, but only they're mind speak and stuff like that. You'd think they'd be, flying ships and having quads and wearing coats and heaters and all, it just seems weird to me. I've heard so many stories about the portals. I think they do. I think they do have portals. I'm not so sure about Dr. J's story of what the portals are and stuff like that, because see, I was when I was having the kidney stones here recently, the Roku and live streaming became my friend. I put my laptop on my dresser, and then I plugged it into my TV. That way, whatever the Roku couldn't get, I could stream anything, from the laptop. So I was actually researching some of the supernatural stuff that Bigfoots do, and it led me to UFOs or aliens, and it seems like to me that it's the same. They're the same. They lie. They have the same kind of capabilities and stuff like that. I mean, like, they have a lot of similarities. In fact, when I noticed that, the similarities, then I started looking at cattle mutilations, abductions, and sightings of both Bigfoot and UFOs, and I seen a correlation that if you're just a UFO guy, you won't think that there's a correlation with Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings. And if you're a Bigfoot guy and you're only taking reports of Bigfoot, you won't know that there's a UFO correlation with the Bigfoot sightings. Like, usually when there's a spike in Bigfoot sightings somewhere, there's also a spike in UFO sightings and also alien abductions. So yeah, I mean, I really do want to I've been meaning to get a hold of you. I keep on missing you somehow, Steve. But howdy, Steve. How you doing? I can't wait to get a hold of you. See, and I believe you guys opened the portal. I know you did. There's a portal, and I think they use them. But I think the story that they're telling Dr. J is a lie. And I'm not saying that all that didn't happen. I'm saying the story or the backstory that they're giving him, I think is a lie. Because when you start researching these things, you find that they lie. Okay, all these things lie. They never tell the truth. Like I was reading some alien abductions, okay, and the alien abductions, these people weren't like, they were asking questions of the aliens, and the aliens weren't, they were giving them one word answers, and then they said they were kind of like woozy, weird, they weren't all there. They know they had 3 hours of missing time, but they could only remember 5 minutes, you know. And then they could remember more under hypnosis. Some of them couldn't be hypnotized, but the ones that could be hypnotized remembered more. And then they found they realized they were even given fake memories, right, to remember. So this one, or really there were several of them, they decided that since they can mind speak, right, the aliens can mind speak, the Bigfoots can mind speak, since they can mind speak, they figured that they would meditate. They would do some meditation and get in a meditative state, and then see if they could communicate with the aliens. Okay, so they realized they could. Okay, and this time they were communicating with the aliens, and the aliens are giving more of their backstory. And it seems that from what, and now this is like several of them getting the same story. The backstory was, and what's really weird is this is the same story Dr. J's getting. Okay, their planet died. Okay, and now the aliens are saying they killed their planet, and they feel like they can't be forgiven for killing their planet. Okay, so they're over here on this planet doing who knows what, you know, but they killed their planet and they can't be forgiven. And so now these guys are feeling sorry for them because they feel like, you know, they feel sorry for the aliens because they can't be forgiven for killing their planet. And see, now Dr. J's, the Bigfoots are saying they didn't kill their planet. Really, they didn't say. They said, I think they said their sun was getting bigger, and it was killing their planet. Right? Same story though, and they needed to come to this planet, right? And I don't know, you know, when you look at the biblical narrative, and I know a lot of people don't like when I talk about that, it explains their story. It explains it. It explains why they weren't forgiven, because they lost their first estate. They lost their planet. They can't go back, right? They can't be forgiven. I mean, think about it. I mean, I don't know. You guys can believe whatever, but only that's my take, okay? I would like to talk with Adam Davies. I know he was around here, and he went up to the Thule Res with Christina, but I would like to go hang out with him and talk with him about that portal, and even you, Steve. Like, I think you'll blow my mind. I do, and I think that's why it's so easy. Like for I'm not sure how paranormal Dr. J has been in his research. You know, I think he was more nuts and bolts, boots on the ground kind of guy. Ever since like the 90s, I've been involved in like demons and that kind of realm. And then I saw Bigfoot, and I didn't put the two together for a long time. And then the alien thing, and then that thing I saw flying like mothy or whatever it is, I seen that. But only that caused me to do a lot of research. And when I start finding these similarities in the storyline, and they're telling almost exactly the same story of what the Bible says happened to them, only they're not saying it exactly, they're saying it from their perspective and putting their spin on it, which would make them look better to us, right? That's all they're doing, is putting a little spin that makes them look, or where we would like go along with them. So think about that. Yeah. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, you guys. It was big. It had eyes like a moth. They were red velvet, probably, like this big. The eyes were this big. And its head was rounded. It had brown fur all over it. Head to toe, it was a humanoid form, but it had wings like a dragon, and the wings were black skin like a dragon. And it never flapped its wings. I watched it fly for miles, coming at me and then miles going away from me. I mean, it was a little speck in the sky when I first saw it. What caught my attention, it was almost dark, so there was no lights. And it was like, what is that, As it got closer, we realized it was like, we thought it was a cigar, because we couldn't see the wings yet. We could just see the body, a brown body. And we're like, wow, it's a cigar-looking ship, But then when it got even closer, then we could see the wings, and it was like, whoa, it has dragon wings, black dragon wings. And when it went over me and my buddy Rick, it turned, I got some binoculars, was looking at it, and it turned like this. Like, at first I thought it was radio controlled, like some kind of weird radio controlled thing, fake still, I didn't believe it. And then it turned back and it looked at me like that, and when it made that maneuver to look back, then I knew it was really not radio controlled. It was something. The wings didn't look like it could hold it up. It never flapped its wings, and it flew towards the mountains. It came from the west going east, and right over the middle of the city. Right over the middle of the city. I mean, like right over it, like over a main highway even, or freeway. And yeah, so it's a trip. So let's see, that's what the stars do. They become big, red, engulfing every. Yeah, so we know that now, right? We know that that's what stars do, but does that mean it really did it to them? Or are they just saying that because now we know that? Because like way in the past, they came from Venus. Okay, then remember the Martians? The Martians were landing, Orson Welles, they were Martians. Okay? But then once we got good enough optics to see Mars and realized they can't be Martians, all of a sudden now they're way out there, man. They're light years out. They're not Martians and they're not Venusians. They're Alpha Centaurians, you know what I mean? Like their story changes a lot, Hi, Walba. I hope I'm not killing it. yeah, man, Dr. J, I like Dr. J, and I like his veracity. I like his scientific way that he's going about it and everything. I mean, I've been following him ever since I saw him on the news, because back when he first had his sighting, there wasn't a lot of people talking about this. You know what I mean? Especially in the news. So it was, and on the internet. So like you had your BFRO with a few stories, and you had what's his name. I can't remember his name. He was the one that bought the Bigfoot from Rick Dyer, supposedly. And then you had us, the guys that weren't afraid to talk about it and get laughed at and made fun of, and guys like Dr. J. I can't take gabapentin. I have a disease in my ear called Meniere's disease. You can look that up. There's no cure, just like there's no cure for my leg. Certain medications that mess with your brain, it causes me to have vertigo. So they say that if I could stay on the gabapentin long enough, that eventually my body will get used to it and I won't have vertigo as much. But if you ever had vertigo before, that's not one thing you could ride out. You know what I mean? Like, it's not cool. But gabapentin gives you brain fog, and it can mess with you if you have an inner ear disease. Pretty bad. What is Dr. J's Team Sasquatch or something like that? I think that's the name of it. I think it's an open group on Facebook too, something like that. And Team Sasquatch, I think. Yeah, see, some people can use, like, that's what's weird about drugs. That's I've been doing this now. Let's see, April 1st coming up will be 18 years that I've had this disease. The Meniere's I had longer than that. I got that in my late 20s. But this RSD in my leg, that started April 1st, 2000. So I've tried everything. Okay, what I found, some things work, and gabapentin works. I mean, it works on nerve pain. I know a lot of people that take it and it works, and then I know some people that can't take it, and then I know some people that take something else, Topamax, I think it's called. It works really good for some people, and then some people can't take it. Opiates, some people it works, some people it can't take it. You know what I mean? What happens is you get people that they take a certain thing and it works for them, and they think it works for everyone, so they're telling everyone, and then they get mad at me when I don't brush them off or anything. I just tell them, I can't take gabapentin, and they're like, why? And they want to argue with me and stuff, and I already did that a long time ago. I'm done arguing. If I can't take it, I can't take it, and I'm not going to argue with them on what they can't take. I'm sure there's some that they've tried and doesn't work either, So, yeah, fibromyalgia, that's one of them. Topamax works on fibromyalgia. The only bad thing is it'll mess with your eyes. You start losing your eyesight, and you lose your hair sometimes. And also you lose weight. So some drugs put weight on you, Topamax takes weight off of you. So if it works to knock out the pain, it'll also work to lose weight. Like, it worked for me for 2 years, and then all of a sudden it didn't work anymore, and I wanted to stay on it because I was so thin and trim and everything, yeah. But yeah. Really, I would love to control slot machines. I know a lot about slot machines. I mean, I went to school for slot machines, but I wish I knew how to make the, what they call it, random generator chips land on the numbers I want them to land on. A lot of people don't know there's two computer chips inside the slot machine, and they're constantly running numbers randomly, and when you hit bet, they stop, and then it goes through this little game, it spins a wheel or whatever, and then it shows you what it landed on, but it actually knows what it landed on as soon as you hit the bet button. It stopped. And there's not some little guy in a computer room sitting there going, that guy's winning too much, so I'm going to tighten up his machine. Yeah, that'll do it. There's not that either. All the machines, the only way they're hooked up together is sending info to the server, and the server just crunches all this number and records everything that all the machines do, but nobody can control them. The only way that you could change anything in that machine is open it up and change the actual chips or adjust them, and they only can be adjusted a little bit. Like I think you can't even set a machine to never win. It's set where it has to win some, or you can't set it to always pay out either. It has to take some. Yeah, me too, man. Ever since this RSD, I have all the alphabet diseases, like RSD, CRPS, ALS, RSS, AR, RA, ABC. I used to have, what is that one? What do they call it? DCO. Oh no, OCD. Yeah, I had OCD. Only I had OCD so bad that I called it CDO. It wasn't OCD for me. It was CDO. That's how bad I had it. Yeah. Well, I know one thing. I know one thing about gambling. You can win more on the tables because that's a skill game. The machines, you could go by your gut feeling, but I know, like, if you're not winning, like if you say put $10 in it and you're not hitting anything at all, move on. Move on. But go by your gut feeling. Sometimes your gut feeling won't be right, though. It'll cost you a couple $100. You'll be like, man, I just knew I was gonna win as you're walking to your car. I felt it right here. Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, I don't even know how long I've been on, a little over an hour. I wanted to just drop in and show you guys my tank. Tell you about my new filter, tell a little Bigfoot story, talk about that lake, tell everybody that I'm getting all your stuff. Thank you. I could see my new computer. I've been shopping it already, but I don't know how much everything's going to sell for, like the flute, and then I have some other stuff. I'm going to build the website and put pictures and everything, and we'll figure out how to sell these things so that I can raise money to fix the computer or build another computer or upgrade the computer. Actually, I just want to upgrade it, so I'm looking at about I want to spend like $1,000. That's, the more you spend, the better the upgrade, but I could get away with like $800. So I mean, I'm not talking about a fortune. But I have quite a bit of stuff, and people are sending me more stuff, some really cool stuff, like the 411 movie. I have that. I got that from Rose. Thank you, Rose. She sent me a lot of stuff. I need to break out my list and write all this down. because I've been praying for everyone. When I go through the chat and I pray for everybody in chat. And if you say you need prayer in the chat, then I give you extra special attention prayer. Otherwise, you're in a group prayer with everybody in the chat. And then everyone that sends me something, I pray God bless them back, you know, a lot, like abundantly in every aspect of their life. That means spiritually, health, finances, everything, you know. I pray God bless them so much because they're blessing me so much. And I know that they got that. God is having, you know, giving them that. God gave you that generosity inside of you that wants to help people. So if you're doing that, that came from God, and you're obeying God when you do those things. And I know that doesn't get you to heaven, but only I know that that brings blessings here and on the other side. So never ever stop being generous. Never ever stop being kind. Always stop being mean and judgmental. Always stop being mean and judgmental, okay? Because we're not judges. We can't see in people's hearts. We don't know what's up with them, you know. Always be forgiving, kind, and generous. And that will reap rewards in this life and in the next one, the next area or step of our life after this one. I know it's hard. It is hard, you know, but you'd be surprised how easy it gets, like playing guitar or piano, right? When you first sit down, you're terrible. Like playing the flute, I've been learning to play the flute. And I pick it up here and there, you know, and play around. But I'm getting a little bit better, a little bit better. It's like that, you know, when at first, you know, you try to stop judging and stuff like that. At first, it's really hard. And you can judge people in 2 seconds, you know. But pretty soon you start realizing, you know, it gets easier. And then being generous gets easier. That one, I do that one really easy for some reason. But I like it. Facebook Heidi, and she's all about your new channel and can't wait to be on. She said, yeah, she has a big heart too. Heidi is so cool. I haven't got in touch with her since I stopped, or you know, since I died off of Paranormal Central. Yeah, so I'll get a hold of her. Me and her, sometimes we sit and chat till like 3 in the morning. She is really cool, and she knows about Jesus and stuff like that. She's seen Jesus. Like, I wished I had all the things happen to me that she's had happen with her. I guess it doesn't help you though. You know, you're still gonna be whoever you are no matter what happens, you know. Yeah, I was killed off. Jeff even did an interview where he had a skeleton sitting in where I sat, and you know, he interviewed me, and I was a skeleton. I was dead. You know, I didn't say much, I guess. You know. Yeah, well, my bucket butt's starting to hurt here. You know, this looks like pretty good. Like, how's the stream been? Not bad for being on a wireless connection, an ATT wireless connection. It's yellow, I'm not green. I think I should have reset the router before I started, but I didn't. I'm going to be putting up, I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm working on here. I don't want to do like another channel, another YouTube channel, so usually just Pepsi is in his alien cup, But occasionally he will do a shot of tequila before he starts. It kind of loosens him up and lets his inhibitions, his little wall that he builds, it lets him, be more open and relaxed, So sometimes, could they see the door or opening to the portal? From what I understand, yes, they could. And also see inside, or like, not just see the door, but only they could see inside what was on the other side of the door. And I can't wait to talk to everybody that does that. I have one more cable. I've been waiting on it from Amazon. One cable, that's it. And then I can start taking calls. I think I could start doing Skype like right now, I think. That's what I'm doing with this laptop right here. This is like one of the tests. This laptop, I can use the laptop for Skype, and then use the tower computer for what I've been using it for, and then use the laptop for Skype. And then I have a phone that I have just especially for the show. Only so far everything I hook up to it hums. Like I'm starting to think I'm going to try a different phone. Like if this cable doesn't work, if it's still humming, then there's something in the phone that's kind of jacked up. So I'm going to try a different phone. I just don't have a different phone. I can't see buying all these phones, Like once I figure out if it's the phone or not, the next thing though is, after this one, is the phone. If the cable doesn't work, that's 3 cables. It has to be the phone, right? Yeah. Okay. But I want to let you know, like this what I'm gonna kind of do. Like I got to work on my bedroom. And that means I got to take all my stuff apart, and I might not have a home for everything. So I might be doing this little wireless show a few times until I get my room like built, finished, carpeted, and then the room that's my bedroom back there, and then I'm sleeping in a spare room. That's my room that's going to be used for the YouTube channel and all the hobbies and everything that we do. But right now I have it in the other room that's the bedroom, because there's nothing in there, no carpeting, just a desk and stuff like that, a bunch of boxes and garbage and stuff. I need to clean it up. Once I get that done and painted and I can move back into my bedroom, then I'm going to recarpet and paint the other room that I'm now sleeping in right now. And once that's done, then I can set everything up permanent in there, and I won't ever have to move it again. Like the things that can be permanent will be permanent. Stuff like that, what I'm using right now, can be moved around, but I'll have a place, you know what I mean? And I won't have to take it down and do any work and then put it back up for the show, and then take it down to do work and then put it back up for the show. Stuff like that. So what I want to do with the YouTube is I was thinking, man, I wanted to name it and I want to talk about Bigfoot a lot, so the Squatch Zone, and I already had that name kicking around since like 2013, but I'm more interested in other things than just Sasquatch. Like I know a lot about earthworms, and I'm known for that also in my area, geographic area. And I'm getting a lot of people asking me, now that I have a YouTube channel doing things on my own, they're asking me to do little videos on earthworms and how to raise them, how to feed them, how to get the castings, all the different little nuances in worm farming. And so I need a shielded cord like a lot of musicians use. It cut down on the hum. I'll also use a ground plug Yeah, I was wondering, like, I started moving everything off the desk, like speakers and stuff like that, that had a thing, you know, field. But that's what I have coming right now is a shielded cord. So if that doesn't work, it's going to be something's wrong with the phone. It is an older phone. It's a Apple 5. So, you know, I'm trying to save money. I don't have a lot of money, and you guys are really, really generous, but I wanted to make the money go, you know, a long way. So I'm not buying the most expensive stuff I could get. In fact, the phone was given to me by Chuck. I don't even know if Chuck's out there. If you are, thank you, Chuck. He gave me a mixer too, an audio mixer. Okay, like back to the YouTube channel. So I'm gonna do Squatches and paranormal. All the Squatch and paranormal and aliens, all that's gonna be under the Squatch Zone thing. But what I'm gonna do is break the channel up in playlists. So I'll have my corner. I had that already, and that's going to be about my health or your health or things like that that are like personal things. And then I'm going to have the earthworm section for earthworms. And then there was another one. Dang. So it was going to be the Squatches, the earthworms, and there's going to be one more. I can't remember what it is now. Wish I could remember. Oh boy, you know. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it all up. Like, I could make another channel for the earthworms. I thought about it. I was wondering, like, if I have all that, like, is it too much to have your channel broke into sections, you know, playlists? Like, is that not cool, or should I make an earthworm one just for earthworms? Or should I have it all in one? That way, like, say you're interested in the Squatches, but you also have, you like gardening and plants and stuff like that, so you want to know more about earthworms. Would you rather have it all on one page and be able to just like go to that section and just scroll through those videos? Like UFOs, for instance, and alien abductions, would you just like to go to that section and peruse, you know, through there? Or would I need a channel for every topic or whatever, you know? Can't have too many channels, huh? Huh. Yeah, maybe, huh? I'm not so sure. I think everybody's interested in Bigfoot. I mean, lately, they're doing Bigfoot commercials and Bigfoot. I mean, everything's Bigfoot nowadays. But I'm not. I know the alien and the demon stuff and stuff like that. That could. But only I see that as falling under the same thing as the Sasquatch. There it's like crypto, you know, all that all goes together. So I could see moving the earthworms out of the crypto land, you know, the Squatch zone. I could call it the worm zone. Hey JG, how you doing, man? And oh man, Gorgaruga, that was a good idea. But anyways, I gotta get out of here. I'm not gonna try to say, well anyways, I'm gonna try not to say that. I was watching a video and I said it like 3 times, like, man, I can't keep saying that. The signs of demonic possession. One of them is they're sadistic. They also lie a lot. They lose their temper, like total rage, and they lose their self in their rage. So where they're not the same person that you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden they fly into a rage and they're not the same. Their voice changes and their look changes. Like if they're possessed, their whole demeanor will change, and they're not the person you know. That's how you know that they're possessed. And if you have, I only suggest doing this if you know you have the Holy Spirit. If you don't have the Holy Spirit, don't try anything, because they'll rip you to shreds, because they only recognize one thing as being that they have to listen to, and that's the Holy Spirit. So if you have the Holy Spirit, like it's like being a cop. Okay, it's like you have Jesus and now you're filled with the Holy Spirit, right? Okay, like a cop, you have authority. You have Jesus authority, in Jesus' name authority. Like, so it's like being a cop with a badge. So if I'm a cop and I step out onto the road, or the busy street, and I get out there and I say, halt, stop. Now, do I have the power to stop everybody's cars? Like, can I physically make the cars stop? Nope. If they want to run me over, they can run me over, right? They'll flat just run me over. But the people recognize the badge and the uniform and the authority that you have, and they know that they have to stop, so they stop. And it wasn't by any power that I had, right? It was only that I had authority of the badge and the law enforcement, okay? Same with demons. If you jump out there and you're not wearing the Holy Spirit, you don't have the Holy Spirit in you, and you jump out there and you try to tell them something, you'll get run over, because they won't recognize your authority, so they don't know who you are, so they run you over. In fact, in the Bible it says, Jesus I know, but who are you? And then they ripped the clothes off of them dudes, beat them soundly, and sent them packing naked away, running away. So, like, this isn't some little game, you know what I mean? Like, it's for reals. So, make sure you're prayed up before you go after somebody that's demonic possessed, demon possessed. And I went with other people at first that knew what they were doing and had the authority, and I didn't have the authority, so I was scared out of my wits, but I was under the protection of the blood of Jesus, and that's how we prayed when we went in there. And you can do that, but you can't command them around, or you can't help that person really unless you have the Holy Spirit. Yeah, I think the same thing, and I actually think that I have more encounters with the other side because of that connection I have with the Spirit. And I'm not religious, okay? Like everybody says, oh, religion, Okay, this is my religion. Every day I make pot of coffee and I have some coffee. I religiously have coffee every day, but only I'm not religious. Like, I'm not religious. I'm a believer in Jesus. I believe what he did for us. I've researched it. Like, I'm going to tell you, there is so much proof that he did what he did, and that book is 100%. Because here you have some men, okay, and well documented, not just in the Bible, but all other historians that lived around there, and they were even like tripping on these guys, right? Okay, so if he didn't really raise from the dead, and they see him alive after they already saw him die, and they were denying him and running away, right? Because that was their God, and they were freaked. But then when they saw him alive, their whole thing changed, right? They got bold. They got bold in Rome, where, and they got themselves killed. All they had to do was say, we lied. He didn't die. I mean, he died. That's what we lied. He died. He died. He really died. And we stole his body. But only that, even the Romans said that he was alive, right? In their writings, some of the people, he was alive again. He really did die on the cross. I mean, he really did die. Everybody saw him die. Hundreds of, and maybe thousands of people standing there that believed in him. They saw him die. I mean, it would be so hard to pull a prank with the people that saw what was going on, right? Okay, and that's like, we know George Washington, like when the New Testament was written, of the oldest ones that we have anyways, they're like 200 years after his death is when they started writing it. So that's like us saying that there wasn't a George Washington and he wasn't our president, our first president and stuff. I mean, we know that, right? I mean, it hasn't been that far out away from our history that we wouldn't know that. And that's when these books were written. Plus, what these guys did, I mean, they got beheaded, they got burned, they got dropped in boiling oil. I mean, one of them even got dropped in boiling oil and lived. John, and then he wrote Revelations on that Isle of Patmos. I mean, like, all this is really recorded history. When he got put on Patmos, he went through the whole Roman thing. I mean, they have a whole history of this dude and what they tried to do to him to make him say Jesus wasn't who he said he was, and say Jesus, all this, that he wasn't God. I mean, that's all written. That's all written. It's all true. Every last single bit of it is. And the more you research it, the more you realize that to go around saying that all the books got messed up and they weren't right is kind of ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, if you do your homework, you'll find out that that's total ignorant. I never have begged for God to make it a dream and then wake up. I've had some seriously bad things happen to me. Like, I died and I went to the other side. That's how come I know there is the other side. I'm not afraid to die. That helped my faith tremendously, going to the other side. When I realized that you travel at the speed of thought, you can know anything when you're on the other side. If you want to know, all you have to do is think the question and it gets answered immediately. It's weird. Like, that's how come I know there's no ghosts. Everybody's like, oh, my grandpa's coming to check on me. I knew it was my grandpa. You know what? Your grandpa's somewhere else, and if he wants to know what's going on here, all he has to do is think about it, and he knows what's going on here. Plus, he also knows it isn't going to be very long to him, and you're going to be over there with him. So why would he be concerned about what's going on here? He's not. I guarantee you, they're not worried at all what's going on here, because he knows where you're going. Hopefully, anyways, you're going where he's going. Hopefully, he went where he was supposed to go. But only they don't hang out here. They can't hang out here. It's not made for here. That you're made to go. There is a place for you to go to. And you can research that, and you can learn all about that. I mean, there's tons of stuff on that. Yeah, well, like, you could say, I think the Krishna story and the Hinduism, I think that's actually a twisted version to confuse people from the real thing that really happened. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else is saying Krishna and Buddha and all those guys are all the same as Jesus. Well, really they're not. They found Buddha's grave. So if you're God, how could you be in a grave? Okay, like they know where Jesus' grave is too, but he's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't look at certain little things and zoom in on it and say that's why it can't be so. Look at it from this angle and take in the whole story and look at it and look at what the people said, and then try to verify using archaeology that the findings that they're finding even today. Like they just found the Pool of Siloam. That's the one where Jesus healed the blind dude, and they said when the waters are stirred, the first guy in got healed. Well, they didn't know where that was. They just barely found it in just the last few years, and it was an accident that they found it, right? So more and more little things are coming out. Like one of the biggest ones for me is a dead race of people called Jews lost their country. Okay? They lost their country. And then the German, Hitler tried to wipe them out, completely out, tried to kill them all. And they were spread all over the world for 2,000 years. And all of a sudden they got their country back. Not only that, their language was dead, okay? They used Aramaic. Only now they all speak Hebrew again. A few of them were keeping records, and now they all speak Hebrew. And they didn't before. They spoke Aramaic or Russian or wherever they were at. But now they all speak Hebrew. That's a major milestone. When you see a country come back after 2,000 years, no other country ever did that. That's a first. It might be a last. And then the prophecies, what people wrote about that God told them to write about 5,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, they wrote about this country coming back like that hundreds of times. And then there it is. That's a miracle, dude. That's a miracle. They are back. Okay? And then when you start looking at all the things that they wrote in that book, and you start realizing that 100% of everything that was written, that was predicted, has come to pass so far, and there's still some more, but only one of the things is Jesus is supposed to return. Okay? The big sign for him returning is when Israel becomes a nation again. That was one of the big signposts that you're supposed to be looking for. Well, that happened in 1948. And the other one was Jerusalem was going to be reunified under the Jews. That happened in 1967 in a 6-day war. A 6-day war, okay? Here's a country that's no bigger than Manhattan. I mean, like 5 miles wide by 50 miles long, or 150 miles long. I mean, it's not very big, okay? Really little. Against all these huge countries and armies and everything, and they win in 6 days. Interesting. And then if you go and read the stories of the soldiers that were there and see how they won, freaking miracles. But yeah. I've spent hours and hours and years and years and years and years to learn this. And I started off trying to disprove it. Like, I wanted to, because I wasn't raised in church or nothing. You know what I mean? I'm a heathen. You know, I drink my fair share of bourbon and beer and magic mushrooms and LSD and you name it. You know, I mean, I'm a heathen. Only I wanted to like go after some. I wanted to be like Saul that now is Paul, but I wanted to go after everyone and make them eat that what they're spewing at me. But I don't want to push it down your throat. I'm just saying it's out there. It's like a puzzle. When you put it all together, it makes a big picture and it's real. Okay? And I'm not saying the other stuff ain't real either. It's real too. The Krishnas and the Buddhas and the Mohammeds and the Jinn and all that stuff. I'm just saying it's a facsimile of the real thing so that it will take you away from the truth, because they don't want you to know the truth. Just like the Bigfoots and the portals and all that kind of stuff, all lies, man. We need to figure out. My thing is like all down through time of my time anyways, once I got sober, was to find out what the truth really is. And I didn't know what the truth was, and I surely didn't want it to be Christians or God or Jesus. That was the farthest thing. That was the farthest thing. That was the last thing. Like, in fact, I didn't want it to be that. Okay? But only events and things I read and came across and experienced kept bringing me back to that, you know what I mean? And it was like, and now it's easy to see where the aliens and everything, they're telling the same story, but only they're skewing it to where we'll like them and accept what they say. And if we do, then we're going against what the truth is, because they don't have all the history backing them up like the Bible. The Bible actually talks about them, but it doesn't call them what we call them, right? It's a different name, but it describes them, and it describes that they're liars, and it describes, it's a trip, man. It really is. Actually, I used to make fun of people about Bigfoot until I saw one, and then I was afraid to go in the woods for 6 years, and I didn't go in there. Because the British Army took them to Palestine during World, and they made an agreement to give them a small portion of land. Yeah. However it happened, it doesn't really matter. It happened. That's what really matters. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't have happened. None of it. Even the 6-Day War, where the unified Jerusalem, that's a miracle, dude. It's a miracle. It shouldn't have happened. It should not have happened. That's why it's so turmoil over there right now. It should have never happened, but it happened, and now there's no going back. But only if you go back in the history and you read what the prophets said about all this, you'll find that they were word for word saying how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen, the whole thing, down to the wire. Even sometimes phrases that were going to be said, and then 1,500 years later that phrase gets said, like in Psalms, and I don't even know, I think it's like 800 years or 1,800 years, something like that. They wrote about Jesus hanging on the cross, and they were describing what was all around him. And they said that they were going to gamble for his clothes and 30 pieces of silver, all this stuff. There was going to be phrases. He was going to get pierced in the chest, and water was going to come out. There's like 600 things like that are written hundreds of years, if not thousands, before, like even in Adam and Eve, they even talked about it in Genesis about Jesus. And I mean, and some other religions talk about it too. So I mean, like, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. I'm not pushing it on anyone. I'm just saying, try it. Google it. You'll find out. The word has power. I've sent demons packing straight out of my house out to the middle of the street. I totally did it. I totally did it in front of Jeff a couple of different times. Blew his paradigm out of the water. I mean, like, he was doing his Catholic thing, and it wasn't working. And then I just went in there and said one phrase with one name, and it changed the whole thing, and that lady was running. Happens, and it happens, and it happens. I've been in Africa. I wrestled with a little kid demon in Africa, amongst other things that I seen and did in Africa. That was like a crash course in voodoo and demonism, going to Africa, and I didn't know it was going to be like that, but that's what happened. It was an interesting trip. But yeah. Oh, I see, he's a bad dude. Devin, you love me, buddy. You know you do. Yeah, you guys, I gotta man. I'm going on a little over 2 hours here, or almost 2 hours. My bucket butt is really hurting. I love chatting with you guys. I love talking about God and Bigfoot and all these things. You guys can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't want to force anything on anyone at all. Whatever works for you, you know what I mean? Whatever works for you. All I say is research, research, research. That goes for Bigfoot, aliens, ghosts, just about darn near anything. Research, like for me, like I thought I had everything figured out, and then all of a sudden, boom, my paradigm wall went down, and then I was like, whoa. I seen a Bigfoot. It blew everything what I thought I believed out of the water, and it keeps on continuing, like I've talked to hundreds of people that have been abducted, and I mean, look in their eyes and talk to them, kind of like how like this channel is to me. I'm looking right in your eyes, and I love you guys. I love you guys. And I don't think anyone hears that enough anymore. I think there's so much hate and discontent, and I don't care what color or what religion or what belief system or it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Like, we're like a bunch of fish in a fish bowl on this little earth, like this fish tank right here. It's a little ecosystem, and those fish don't go anywhere out of there unless I take them out of there. But we're on the earth, and we're the same way, man. We look out of an atmosphere that distorts everything, like we're all in this together here, and we should be nice to each other, and we should like try to get along better. And I don't mean because of religion or what everybody believes. I'm just saying we're all here together, and we should be doing better than we are. That's for sure. Yeah, totally research it yourself. That's because I'm an airhead. There's nothing in here. It's just like, and the fish just can swim right through there. You know what I mean? It's like, right now I'm blonde. It should be gray, but I'm blonde at the moment. And the fish likes it. He likes to go through little caves. Yeah, we need to be good to one another. Um, I don't do the LSD. I don't do shrooms. I do marijuana sometimes. Doctor's orders. Uh, it's a long story on why I don't do it. I'm thinking about writing a book about it, about some of my experiences on why. Um, but I could tell you that that's how I found God. I was a heathen. Uh, I was getting so drunk that I didn't remember. You know what I mean? Like, I was blacking out, but I was still running around, fighting, doing all kinds of stuff. And I got in a fight with the wrong people, and there was a gang, and there was a bunch of them. And I don't even recall this. I've only been told this. It was at we were hot air ballooning, and I got wasted on all the champagne. They served champagne in the balloon, and nobody was drinking it, so I did. And on my fifth, I remember 2 flights, but everybody said I went 5 flights. And so that meant I had 5 bottles of champagne. I can't remember. I know I had one, maybe into another one. But when I came to, I was in the jail, and I was going away. They told me that I was going to go away for 30 years for attempted murder with a vehicle on over 30 people. That I chased them down with my car. Luckily, I didn't run over anybody. But they said I was, and it sounds right. I mean, that's how I used to be. I didn't yell at people or I didn't argue with them. If somebody ticked me off, I just went over and punched them out. And no warning or anything, just all of a sudden sucker punch or whatever. But yeah, but then they let me out. The DA, and this I remember because I was coming to, the DA didn't press charges because they didn't press charges because they wanted to get me. So he decided that that would be good enough. Like, why send him to prison? Because he ain't gonna live very much longer because the gang's gonna get him. And so if they didn't press charges, he wasn't gonna press charges, and they let me out. And I went out knowing I had a problem. My wife was leaving. I lost my job. My car was all wrecked up. I had a gang after me to kill me, and I couldn't stop drinking. And I sat there, and then I called my friends, and they were like, F you, dude. You're on your own. We're not hanging out with you no more. So all my friends dumped me. My wife's only next month is 40 years with my wife. Something happened and she couldn't leave. But only I sat in the park and I said, if there is a God, I don't know if there is one, but if there is one, I need help. Because it's beyond me. I can't stop. And that's when I met God. He came right there and met me in the park. And I never drank another drop since, and that was April 26, 1986. And I'll never forget that day because that was my last day of partying, and I didn't want it anymore. I mean, absolutely, there was no desire or anything. And then that set me on my path of, like, did this really happen? Just like a Bigfoot sighting, right? It's like you're going along and you believe it, you're like, wow, that was so cool. But then a year down the line, you start doubting yourself and doubting everything. And that's when you start trying to find everything you can about it. Like, I saw a Bigfoot, and then a year, 2 years, 3 years later, I'm like, did I really see that, or am I like imagining? But yeah. Thank you, Jan. After all the years on PC, you guys are my favorites. I love you guys for reals. You know what? There really wasn't, like, there was no buzzers and whistles on April 26, 1986. No feelings, no goosebumps, anything like that. I just said, I told him that I couldn't stop, and if he was real, he had to, like, if he was real, he had to be real to me and take it away from me and help me, because I could not help myself. If it was left to me, I would be probably in jail right now or dead for sure if it was left up to me. And I got up the next morning, and my whole was like, I woke up in a different world. Like, no, not like music or anything like that. It was just all of a sudden, I had a whole different feeling, and desires were different. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I made good money when I was young. I was a professional painter and for the union, and I would buy 7 bottles of whiskey, pints, and beer for the whole week when I got paid, and load up my refrigerator. And every day, and I put the whiskey in the freezer. So when I got home, the whiskey was my primer. So I would drink that little pint of this ice cold out of the freezer whiskey. It doesn't freeze in there. And I would down that, and then I would start drinking beer. And I did that every day for years, right? Well, then I got paid. I even had some, and it sat there, and pretty soon I was just like giving it to my friends, like, you could have it. But really what was weird was I didn't tell everybody. I didn't tell my friends or anything about it. And I would go to their house and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, man, have a beer," like that. I'm like, "Nah, not tonight. I don't feel like having a beer." And I really didn't want it. And then they started getting weird on me. Like, they open the beer and then put it in front of me and say, "Man, you got to drink that beer. Don't waste that beer." Look at them like, "I'm not wasting it. You are, because if you give it to me, I'm not going to drink it. I'm telling you straight up right now, take the beer because I don't want it." And they're like, "No, you're going to drink it." And it was weird, dude. Like, all of a sudden, all these weird people were like lining up lines of cocaine, all kinds of stuff. And it was like all free all of a sudden. What cost me hundreds of dollars last week was like being given to me for free, and it was lining up, and then people were lining up to give it to me, and it was blowing me away, man. That was the weirdest thing, and it was almost like a battle to tell everyone no. I couldn't believe it. And then I wound up not having those friends, because they kept on trying to pressure me to be the old guy that I was, and I wasn't that guy no more. Really weird. Ugh. Yeah. Up to 15? I have no idea. I must have missed something. Must have missed something in there. Missing the thing. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like 14, 15. I see 2. I have only 2. Well, you guys, I love hanging out. Like, I could do, I could do my YouTube channel totally different. I could record and edit like everybody else, and have the little music, and do it like everyone else. Only I chose to hang out with my friends. Like, you guys are my friends, and I choose to rather be live and hang out with you and interact with you guys because I like you guys. I love you guys. You guys are my family. You're not my subscribers or whatever. You guys are real people, and I really truly love you, and I care about every last one of you. I don't care if there's a million of you. I care about everyone. Everyone's stuck on this little planet like a little fishbowl. We're all in it together, you know. And it's like the little girl walking on the beach, and there's thousands of starfish, you know, and they're all dying. She picks one up and throws it in the water, you know, and picks up another one and throws it in the water. And the guy said, this guy's watching her do this, you know, and he's finally like, why are you doing that, you know? You're only helping only a few. It doesn't help any of all the rest of them. She goes, well, it made a difference with that one. You know, made a difference with that one. And she was just making a difference with one person at a time, you know. Well, I hope I can make one video at a time, live, and interact with people and make a difference, hopefully, with everyone. And I choose. That's how I choose. I believe that we all have options. We all can make decisions and choices, and sometimes your choice, you don't see where it's steering you until later, you know what I mean? So I try to look far out and start making choices now that gets me, you know, that puts me on a track. And then I just make little adjustment choices to keep me on the track that I want to be, how I want to be. You know what I mean? Before I really didn't even care, but now I do. And I even care what happens to you guys. So, like, if you're having health problems, I believe prayer works. I've seen it work so many times. And again, I'm not pushing it. Like, I'm offering to pray for everyone. And if you want me to pray for you, that's great. If you don't want me to pray for you, don't ask. You know what I mean? Like, don't put anything down there. But if you do, ask. Put it in the comments, that, or even send me an email if you don't want everybody to know that you're asking for prayer. And I'm not going to get on here and read your email in front of everyone either. You know, I'm just going to pray for you, or a bunch of you, or however it works out. But I just want you to know, like, if you're a praying person, pray for me, because I need prayer. I have serious health issues. And I try not to bring them up, but only they're like, it's like part of me, you know what I mean? Like, I could hide it. Like, Jeff wanted me to hide all my health issues and not talk about it. He was like, that's like a negative black mark on our show. You can't do that. Nobody wants to hear that. Well, you know what? That's being human. We all have problems. You know what I mean? Like, and when people don't see me for a little while, they have a real reason to know the truth. You know, I'm not going to get up there and lie and say, you know, some lie about why I wasn't there. I'll tell you the truth. So I'm plus God gave me one more chance, you know. I died, and he put me back here for a reason, you know, like maybe to get something right before I, you know, move to the next realm, you know, the next thing that we have. And so, you know, I'm trying my best to not so much I'm not going by the Bible and doing what the Bible says. I'm doing what I feel like the Spirit guides me to do, you know, like what's on my heart. And I feel like a lot of people should, maybe if they listen to that, they'd be going on the right track, instead of like listening to their brain, and try to whatever. I feel like people know, you know what I mean? Like when you're looking at the sky, and there's all the, or say you're sitting in, Yosemite, and all these waterfalls and beautiful stars and all this stuff, and then you're looking at the the you know universe, and then the next day you're down in the creek and you're panning for gold, and you're down looking at the littlest little things crawling around, and that something made all this. It wasn't just like bang, there it is, it wasn't like that. But I don't believe in reincarnation as in we reincarnate as humans. We might, but I believe that we live forever though. But we're not created to be in this realm. I think we are created to be in this realm, but we weren't created like this to be in this realm. You know what I mean? Like, we're handicapped. Like, I believe that we were created to actually see into the realm that the Bigfoots and everything can see. I believe that we can see. I believe we were created to be in that realm, and I think that's what their interest is in us. Is like, we lost something, and probably due to them lying to us, and we fell for it or something like that, and we lost our abilities. We have little inklings of it here and there, but only the veil is getting thin, and the day is coming when something's going to happen and the scales are going to fall before our eyes off of them, and we're going to be able to see the other realm that is all around us, like whether it be ghosts or whatever. I mean, we're going to be able to see all the light realm that we were created to see, and we won't die, and we won't get sick, and all these things are how we were created. Because that's one of the things in the Bible, is when these dudes, Adam and Eve and everything, when they lived, those guys lived 1,000 years, and that was after the curse got put on them for disobeying whatever, and actually it was all decisions. We have free will, and we made bad decisions, and we made one super bad decision to follow this one dude that's probably the king of the aliens and king of all the jinn, or the whatever you want to call them, the evil dark, the one that the Darth Vaders or whatever. So we messed up, but only there's coming a time we already got redeemed. That's the whole big thing about Jesus. He bought back that. And it's only a matter of time before he sets his foot on the soil and then we get back everything. We all change. Like he said, the dead will rise first, and they'll be changed, and we will be changed into what we were created originally to be, and we will live forever and ever and ever. And I died already, and I went over there, and I already tripped around over there a little bit, like played around, and got put back over here. And so I saw a glimpse of what, and felt that, but only I knew I didn't have this, the flesh part, but only I thought about it, in everything that you think about when you're over there, the answer to. And luckily I thought of a few things, and so I know the answer now, and it's an interesting thing, huh? And I could go on and on and on, and I probably should look in here. Well, I love Ireland. I'm gonna go see you, Viper. That's something I want to do. I love traveling around the world, and I want to go meet my family everywhere because I believe we're all family. I mean, you're not here. We're not. There's no coincidences. Like if you're on here listening, and that means I get to visit you one day. We'll go hang out. And we'll go look for fairies and trolls and maybe even Bigfoot over there. You know, but that would be really cool. Yeah, I never been to Ireland. I've been to Holland and Denmark, Africa, Mexico, and America. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna try not to say anyways, but anyways, you guys, I gotta go. My bucket butt's falling asleep for reals. I'm sorry that it's going to be intermittent that I'll be on. I will be putting up some recorded stuff. Like I'm going on a field trip on Saturday. So I will be putting up some recorded stuff. And I'll try to get on whenever I can on the live thing. It's just really hard when you're in construction all over the house, like trying to. There's no place. Like right now, I'm in the kitchen, you know, like. And I thought the fish tank would be kind of cool, you know. But only I want to say I'm praying for everybody. If you need prayers, and put it in the comments. Just say you need prayer or send me a message. My email is alan59thomas@gmail.com. I want to thank everyone for being so generous. I guarantee you I am not abusing your generosity. I will use it to do what you see that I'm using it for. And I pray everyone abundant blessings on your life right now, health, wealth, relationships, life, everything abundantly on everybody that could hear my voice right now. And I wish you all a good week and a happy holidays, because I love you. I do.